There was a time when gaming meant grabbing a second controller and not a second console. And now even gaming together feels like a premium feature, all while the second controller you bought collects dust. If you grew up in the PS2 or Xbox era, you know what I mean. Playing together in the same room, there's just a different energy that you feel, being able to block their eyes or call them cheating for screen peeping and different things like that. But lately I've been wondering, what happened? Why is it so hard to find games to just chill on the couch and play together without having to learn how to emulate or buying old consoles? So I pulled the data. And the more I dug into the data, the more I realized that there's more to this story. But to really understand what's happening, we need to look back at where we came from. Back in the early 2000s, split screen was kind of just a given. I mean, look at the consoles. The GameCube and the original Xbox both had 4 ports, which was almost like an automatic invitation to bring your friends over to play. The PS2, well, the PS2 had 2 ports, sure, but then it had the multi-tap adapter. And yeah, while it was awkward, it was the thought that counts, right? It was expected that these games were meant to be played with multiple people on the same screen. Honestly, looking back on it, it's kind of funny how deeply integrated and baked in the local multiplayer was on these classic systems. And let me tell you about the games. We also had staples like Halo Combat Evolved, which had players dragging their huge CRT TVs over their friend's house just to link up their Xboxes for LAN parties. Mario Kart Double Dash, the game that sold over 7 million copies and let you and your friend drive the same kart. And GoldenEye, which pretty much defined a whole generation of FPS multiplayer. And all of these were being done with your friends all under the same roof. And it wasn't just the mainstream games either. There were plenty of hidden gems built around local multiplayer. Fusion Frenzy, which is like the Xbox's version of Mario Party, was an amazing addition that I think came as a demo disc. Also, Spy vs. Spy, which is one of my favorite classic hidden gems, was an amazing game as well. During this era, some years had over 50 major releases that had split screen support across all platforms. It was the golden era. You couldn't blink without another game that included some sort of couch co-op aspect being released, and it was pure bliss. But obviously that era didn't last. Something changed, and not just in the way we played. So I wanted to figure out what really happened. Was there really a shift in the industry, or is this just nostalgia talking? So I pulled the data. So I pulled every game from this website called Co-Optimus that had couch co-op and split screen support. This chart shows the number of games released each year with couch co-op or split screen support. And you can see that the decline is real. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, we had a gradual increase of couch co-op titles, with 2011 having the peak of 104 titles being released. And then the number slowly starts decreasing to where we only have about 33 in 2024. And yeah, that part is natural. This is when online gaming took off. Xbox Live became the gold standard, and the rest followed with Steam and PSN. And then with the next generation, Wi-Fi was being built into every console. Now all of a sudden there's no reason to cut your screen and have to play with your friends or take that long trip over to their house. Just tell them hop on the game. They could be down the street or halfway across the country and you could connect even easier with no hassle. But what's crazy is how fast developers pivoted. In one generation, split screen and couch co-op was always implemented in every game, and then in the next, it's all gone. Like in 2014, Bungie drops Destiny. Huge budget, vast world, amazing quests, but no couch co-op. Same with Halo 5, which is a series that always had split screen gaming, no couch co-op. Even Need for Speed axed couch co-op. And personally, I thought we could always rely on a racing game for that. Now, can I be honest for a sec? Since the addition of online multiplayer, there probably isn't a real reason to add split screen gaming. I know, hear me out. Making split screen takes up development time, and with games getting more expensive in the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't make sense. Especially if it's more profitable to make online multiplayer. And of course, there are still a couple standouts like Overcooked, Split Fiction, and Cuphead, but these are games made for multiplayer. I can't even remember the last time a major single-player release had a smaller multiplayer mode tacked onto it. It's an entire pivot that we all know the industry was and is continuing to move towards. Instead of everyone sharing the same console, how about you and your sibling buy 2? And as more households purchase more consoles dedicated to online gaming, the number of games specifically made for couch co-op slowly decline. But trust me, it gets worse. Because when you break it down by genre, besides party games, there's really only one type of game that really keeps couch co-op alive. And we'll move on to that next. So while most of the industry moved to online play, there was still one genre that stuck around, stood 10 toes, and held the line. And according to the data, that genre was 2D action platformers. Games like Shovel Knight, Cuphead, Super Mario Maker, Guacamelee, the list goes on and on. All these games are tailor-made for 2 players on one screen, and for that, I salute you. And we can't praise them without praising party games like Overcooked, Towerfall, Nidhogg, where it feels better to beat your friend because they're sitting right next to you instead of on Discord. Also, action RPGs like Diablo 3, Baldur's Gate, and Divinity Original Sin 2 all offered split-screen modes, and obviously not because they had to, but because the developers believed in that style of play. So again, while the chart shows that there is a decline in couch co-op games, these genres made sure that couch co-op never died, even though the rest of the industry left it for dead. So even though the number of couch co-op games dropped over time, the ones that did come out, more often than not, were pretty good. Looking at the Metacritic scores, you'd think fewer games means worse quality, right? But actually the opposite happened. If anything, the average quality stayed surprisingly strong. Some years even saw co-op games scoring higher than before, despite there being a lot less of them releasing overall. And yeah, the golden era of the late 2000s brought more quantity, but the later years had them, and you know them all by name. The It Takes Twos, the Split Fictions, the Cupheads, Overcooked, Lovers in the Dangerous Space-Time. You know, all the games that everyone recommends when you ask, are there any good couch co-op games out there? And to me, because all these games are household names, this shows that it's not for lack of caring, but for lack of trying. All these games have their own success, and what we need is for the industry to wake up and see that there is still a market out there for couch co-op games. So if the problem isn't visibility, then what is it? Is it just because no one wants to make them? It can't be, because you see the critics praise them every time they get released. It can only be two things: laziness or stupidity. Because there's no way that someone thought that Marathon was ready for release. There's no way that they thought Suicide Squad was going to be successful. It's because these publishers are trying so hard to squeeze every dime out of their consumers that they are willing to force online multiplayer, which opens the door for microtransactions, battle passes, and endless monetization. It's kind of sickening, honestly. So here's where we're at. Publishers are silently phasing out couch co-op, and while we do have one main studio in Hazelight and a handful of games by other developers trying to keep up the fight, it's starting to look like a losing battle. I mean, It Takes Two won Game of the Year, so we know it's possible that split-screen games aren't dead. Years after being able to play games with your friends with the comfort of multiple controllers on one system, we are now stuck with dealing with always online, microtransaction heavy, non-split screen games. And we know for a fact it doesn't have to be like this. Every couple of years, a bright light resurfaces and a new couch co-op game is born, and we can revisit our nostalgia again. And I get it, not every game needs split screen, but the fact that we have to hope a studio drops a game, the fact that it's become rare, that's the problem. It's not like these games can't exist, it's just that somewhere along the way, the people in charge decided that they shouldn't. So maybe that's all this video is, just a reminder of the good things that we used to have that publishers removed for profit. Hopefully, Hazelight's success becomes a trend and more developers take these risks on split screen gaming. What was your favorite split screen game? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you later.